Walk with me on this journey as I share transparent stories of my life and others. We'll explore the ups and the downs, failures and successes, offering each other hope and advice that can help you on your journey. Fun, laughter, thought-provoking convos, trending stories, and interviews. It's the Journey with James show. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Journey with James show. This is episode 2 of season 1. Oh my God, you guys are back here again. I thank you so much for the feedback I got from the very first premiere. I thank you for the love that we shared, the support. It does not go unnoticed, and I am forever thankful to you guys. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to watch, you don't have to listen, but you take the time to do just that. And I hope that it has been an encouragement to you, some kind of motivation, or some kind of inspiration for your life. Because, hey, we are all in this journey together, and that's the motto that I stand on. Every broadcast, every show, I stand by that motto. I model my show based on that very fact, that we are all in this journey together. So why not encourage, why not inspire, why not motivate each other in this thing called life? We're better together than apart. So let's come together. In a world that's got so much going on, so much divisiveness, just backbiting and just anger and bitterness, why don't we just come together and come together in love and in joy and motivate, inspire, and encourage one another, okay? So on this particular episode, I call this the family affair because I have 2 great people in my family that's going to be a part of the show. There are a lot of great people in my family, but I wanted to highlight these 2 on my journey of life. They have been a pivotal part of, I told you I can mess up some words, it's called Jamesisms, okay? But there's been a big part of my life and where I am today in the last few years. So that's none other than my sister Alexis. She's gonna join me today on the James and Friends segment, have a good conversation about death and losing our mother and how that all came about, because my mom actually lived with my sister and died in my sister's home. So we're going to talk about that and where we were and how we have endured since 2015 when that happened. And hopefully that will encourage someone that may be going through that as well. And then also we're going to talk to my buddy, my brother, my friend. And now I realize, and we have found out actually the way we were connected is from DNA, 23andMe. He is my cousin, international basketball player, Austin Calhoun. He is joining me all the way from Nevada. He's joining me and he's gonna have a good conversation about, hey, how we even connected and our families and life in general. And I'm gonna tell you something about Austin. He always leaves you with some good nuggets, something that's gonna help you in your life, something that's gonna encourage your heart. So you definitely wanna stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's get to the setup segment. And the setup is basically something funny, something that's going to be fun to get the show started. And I love pranks. That's part of my journey. I'm a prankster. However, I don't like to get pranked. But I'm going to tell you something. I love to watch a good prank. And so I've been watching this prank I found it about maybe a month ago, and I've been watching it all the time because it's so funny to me. And it's the prank where the mother's on the bed, you got the child on the bed, and there's a teddy bear. And the teddy bear starts moving. The child sees it first, and he says something. He's just like, he's like, baby, you watching too much of them scary movies or whatever. And then she sees it and she starts rebuking. Take a look at this.
So what happened? What?
Is the bear moving?
The bear moving? Joshy, you watch too many crazy movies.
How?
You said the bear moving. You keep making... Wait, okay, hold on. I know I did not just see what I saw. Jesus! I rebuke you in the name of Jesus!
And the fact that she pulled that child came back on that bed and he tried to fight. She pulled that baby. Man, we don't play around when it comes to stuff like that. Don't play like that. That's hilarious, and I like stuff like that. I just don't like to play it on me. As a matter of fact, I will confess this. You're gonna get a lot of things about me and my journey you're gonna learn. I don't like Chucky at all. And my nephew, who's gonna be joining me probably next week on next week's show, he has a Chucky doll in his closet, and I don't play around with it. Don't bring that thing out when I come to visit. Don't do nothing like that because it's gonna be some trouble. I don't play around with it. I used to have my buddy doll when I was younger, and I remember watching Chucky when I was a child, and I threw away my buddy doll as soon as I saw it because I don't got time for that. I was fearful and scared, and I don't play with them things coming alive. Can you imagine a teddy bear or something coming alive? I ain't got time for that. But like I said, I had my share of pranks back in my day, and still do. But particularly the next guest that's coming up, my sister that's joining me, I pranked her a lot. One particular thing I did is, and forgive me, Lord, I ask for forgiveness now, but when we were kids, we fought all the time. She used to say that wasn't my mother, I was not a part of family, like we used to fight over everything. And so I found ways to get at her, and it worked all the time. I regret it now, I'm sorry, but it was funny. So, my mother and my mother and my sister love sugar. And of course, okay, I admit I love sugar too, but they love it excessively. And so they gotta have sugar on everything. And so in this particular day, I thought of an idea. It's like, she likes sugar so much, I'm gonna tell her that cinnamon tastes like sugar. And so what she did was she put a whole, and when I told her that sugar tastes like cinnamon, she took a whole gob of cinnamon, put it in her mouth. And let me just say, y'all know what happened then. It didn't taste sweet at all, didn't it? That's the kind of relationship that we have. And so I did that prank. I'm gonna ask her about that once we get back, when we come back on the next segment. So without further ado, we're gonna get this show started. We're gonna come back in just a moment, and we're gonna join with my sister, Alexis, and we're gonna talk about my mom and some other things. And she's gonna be around, stick around for more of the setup where we're gonna play a little game. Would you rather? A game that we love. It's a famous classic game that a lot of people play, and I'm ready for it as well. So stay tuned. You're watching the Journey with James show.
Hey, sometimes you gotta get up and dance. Enjoy your life, despite anything that you may go through. Just enjoy the fact that you are alive, that you can move, that you can groove, that you can do the two-step like me, that you can just have two left feet like me, but just enjoy the dance, the love, God. Be encouraged today, be inspired today, be motivated.
Welcome back to the Journey with James show. I'm James. Hey, that first segment was funny. Wasn't it dope? Hey, it was dope. And you know I was talking about somebody in that first segment. We saw that blooper, but I also told you about the prank that I did to my sister with the cinnamon. So yeah, which you may not know, but I did say it. She is actually here today, and I want her to talk about that a little bit more and talk about a whole bunch of other stuff dealing with life in general. So here's my sister. Welcome.
Hey.
She is nervous. She is nervous, y'all. When I tell you, it took me a lot to get her. She ain't gonna do nothing like this. But she did it because she loved her brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had told everybody in the first segment, I told everybody about what I did to you about the whole sugar cinnamon thing. You know, Mama loves sugar, and you was just like Mama. As a matter of fact, y'all, I'm gonna put a side-by-side picture. She looks just like Mama.
What?
Do she not? She looks just like my mama. And so that's good that I have something of her, of Mama. I can just look at her. And she's starting to get the mannerisms like her too. As you get older, you start getting the mannerisms. Yeah. But one thing that they both like, and okay, I did too, I admit, is sugar. But one day, you know, being the mischievous person that I, can be, have a little fun. I told her that cinnamon it tastes just like sugar. and she took a big old bite of that. How did you feel in that moment?
You know what I thought about the other day when I was making some cornbread?
What happened to the cornbread?
How you told me that the cornbread batter tastes like cake batter.
I actually forgot about that.
I didn't.
So, are you traumatized? That's the question. Are you traumatized by all this? Because see, I forgot about the cake batter. How do you feel about
Yes, I
that?
am. Yes, I am. I thought about that the other day when I made that cornbread. I was like, he told me to lick it. And
I guarantee you don't lick it now, right?
What?
I guarantee you don't lick that batter now, right?
No.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. I know it was hard, but I really, really appreciate you coming on because I think that you are an integral part of my journey in life. And this show is called Journey with James. So this is the segment called James and Friends. But also with James and Friends basically is James and family too, because sometimes your family can be your friends too. And for me, you're like a best friend. I think you know that. And we get on each other's nerves and I love it. It just gives me so much joy. But I'm really glad you're up here because it gives me a chance to really open up and we can kind of talk about some things. Because I can tell you one thing, we have been through a lot with the death of stepfather and mom. So mom was 2015 and then stepfather was last June, wasn't it?
Yep.
And so it's like we're by ourselves because mom was adopted. And the adoptive family, a lot of them are older, so they're not around. And then, we both have different dads. So it's a lot, But I want to ask you a question. First of all, let me get to the cinnamon thing first. You haven't answered that question, but then I'll get to the serious part.
I didn't even hear the question because I was talking about the cornbread.
Huh?
I said I didn't even hear the question because I started talking about the cornbread.
So how did you feel about me once I gave you that when you realized that cinnamon was not sweet as sugar?
I was disgusted. You get on my nerves.
Still disgusted? Because this had to been teenagers? I don't even know.
I don't remember.
So are you still disgusted with me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we're going to get through this now. Let us pray. Father God, we just come before you humble as we know how, just asking my sister to forgive me in Jesus' name. Amen. You forgive me?
You know what?
All right. All serious, all jokes aside, I have my sister up here because I want us to talk a little bit about our transition because to me, we are both like starting new chapters in our lives. And I wanted to ask you, how did you feel when mom passed away? What was where were you and how did it all come about?
Jesus Lord. God. Okay.
Yeah.
I was on my way home from work. I had a client that I was on my way home from work from, and I had called my husband at the time to see what he wanted to eat and see if Mama wanted something to eat from one of our favorite fast soul food places, Ellen's Homestyle, Wilson Boulevard. Anywho, I had called to see if they wanted something to eat, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna call you back." And he called me back, and he was like, "She's unresponsive, and you need to get home." And I've already called the paramedics, and so, I raced home, and
that's the reality.
She was face down, and Bishop came. Bishop came and let them allow us to see her because they wasn't going to try to let us see her at first, and she was face down across the bed, and that's how she was. So.
I simply did that because I think for everybody that's on a journey in life and is dealing with grief and dealing with loss of someone that they love, I think it's important that you talk it out sometime and you talk about the experience. Where you were at that time, and how you got through it. And I also wanted to do that because I wanted to share, and I may have never shared this with you about how it all came out for me. I remember I'm late for work. We left. She always think I'm late for something.
Years later, still saying.
I was running late for work But I remember that morning, I remember saying to myself, I got to call mom. Now, I hadn't seen her 9 days because I remember it was my ex-wife's surprise party 9 days prior, and I had saw her, and she was sick. She was thrown up in the trash can or whatever, and I was like, I ain't coming in there. And we had a good back and forth. She said she was coming. I told her, no, you didn't get your rest. And she said she still was coming. She never came, and I hadn't talked to her. That was the last time I talked to her. It was very pleasant. We told each other we love us, but I had been through therapy, a lot of things with my mom and everything that I had to go through therapy for. And I remember driving that particular day because I had gotten to a point of being able to talk to my mom in the way that I needed to process some things that had happened. And I remember driving that morning, and I said to myself, I need to call my mom, and we need to make a time to go get something to eat so I can talk to her. Not knowing that I assumed she was already gone at that time.
Had to be.
So later on that day, of course, my sister called, and then, I'm not gonna go through the hospital again, but that's when I found out that she had passed away. So for me, in that moment, I started dealing with the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. You ever been there? The coulda, shoulda, wouldas really plagued my mind, and I started to feel guilty a little bit about some things. Like, man, I wish I should have did that. I could have did that. I would have did that, and my mind just kept going on with that. I know you guys have been there. People out there have been out there with that same situation, and so it was hard for me. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Almost instantly.
But I will say to you, I have to give you your accolades because Mom lived with you in the later years of her life, and you did a great job by taking care of her. You allowed her to come into your space because I remember, it says in the Bible says you leave your mother, your father, you go to you have your own family. So you had your own entity, and you put her in. And so I always admired that about you, and I want to tell you thank you right now for that because. Mama, and I don't know if you saw the video last week. I actually found the video where I gave her that car. Remember that?
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
I didn't want to watch it. I actually found it when I was looking for something for somebody else in my video archives, and I came across it and I started crying. It was a Saturday. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I have to show this because it's therapeutic for me. And it also gives me a memory that I didn't forget about it, but it was really good to see that and how excited she was. And it made me feel good. It helped me with the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Because what we have to realize out here, at the end of the day, we're going to always have those coulda, shoulda, wouldas. But all you can do is be the best person you can, knowing that you're not going to be perfect. You're going to have your problems. You're going to have your vices. You're going to have all those things. But you got to let things go. And so seeing that video helped me let things go. I was like, I've given her my car. It wasn't it was an older car, but it was better than that red car. I remember the steering wheel. I was trying to back a car. I was like, why the daggone steering wheel this hard? Now, if I can't hardly move it and she can barely, walk with that, all this kind of stuff. And it concerned me. And I remember her saying, you for real, Tony? How you going to get home?
Start crying. Bawling, per usual.
Per usual. And so I'm glad I was able to capture that moment, not knowing that 2 months later she would have passed away. So I'm glad I captured that moment. But I wanted to talk about that a little bit because that we both dealt with that. We dealt with a mom that loved us dearly, and I'm not hinting across that it was some things that I had to deal with, but it didn't take away the fact that my mama loved us dearly, deeply.
Yeah, she did the best she could.
She did the best she could in what she had. And that's what we have to understand too. Parents are not gonna always get it right. Parents will, as a parent myself, I worry myself sometimes like, am I doing the right thing? Oh, I'm doing, how I stress about that. And you have been an integral part of telling me, you're a good father. I appreciate that.
You are. You absolutely are.
You can say it again for the people who may not hear it.
I ain't gonna keep saying it now.
But it was a time for me where I didn't think I was,
Yeah.
And we know some circumstances and what people have said and different things like that caused that. But I had to realize who I am and whose I am and the God that I serve and knowing
That's
that
right.
I am a good father because he's leading and guiding me.
Yes, you are.
Mic drop. But anyway, look at your face. Are you all right? You can tell she love her brother. So in the years after, how has this situation changed you?
Mm.
And let me just put this up there. Even with losing Lukey, our stepfather.
I think overall you become more appreciative of the people that you have in your life. You love more. You live in the moment. You gotta live for the moment because tomorrow's not promised.
Mm-hmm.
So just take advantage of it. And that's what I try to do. I try to live in the moment because I don't know where I'll be later on.
What are some ways you've lived in the moment? Give me an example for the
Give
people.
you an example.
Yeah. See, I'm tell you, my sisters don't like to be on camera, y'all. I told her to relax.
I don't.
I got you.
I don't.
But I say that because I asked you that question because I've noticed that you are living your life to the best of your ability. You're living life just as like, you could be here today, go tomorrow. And I just want some people to know some of the things that you do and maybe one thing that you do that is something that you're saying, okay, I'm going to do this because you only live once.
Yeah, sometimes I take weekend getaways.
Yes, she does, child.
Places that's drivable, I might go just to get away. Hell, even just going to the movies or cinema cafe or whatever and just enjoying myself. I like going to the movies. I mean,
yeah, she does.
A lot of people don't, but I like still going to the movies and popcorn, especially Harborview because they got the reclining seats. But yeah, I just kind of try to do stuff, enjoy my family,
That is true. I will tell you that.
I might not be always available, but I try to show up when it's important and spend time with my family and be there in the midst of everything else.
You said that, and I'm put a bookmark right there because I think that's one thing that I've learned from you, is that it's okay not to be available all the time because self-care is important.
Oh, absolutely.
And sometimes you have to get away to get yourself recharged so that you can be there for your family in the way that you need to be. Because if you don't get that self-care, you can be there for that family in a way that you don't want to be. So it's good to get away to refresh. So I've actually learned that from you, really, than that.
I don't, but thank you for telling me.
I didn't like that. One thing I liked about the fact that you do take care, because sometimes I'm probably like, she'll be like, I'm in Philly, I'm in Florida. I'm like, what the? I wanted to come over. You could have told me. But I've learned to respect her boundaries and what she likes to do with her family and home. I know if I really, really need her, she'll be there.
Absolutely. That's what it boiled down to.
That's no question.
I would like to think that everybody knows, like, hit me up. I'll be there if I can. I'm going to support you best way I can. Just let me know and I'm there. Yeah.
And so that's a nugget right there. Self-care is important. Getting away is important. It's okay. I remember some friends, some people in the past that were so bogged down about having to do this and that for their family and this and that for, extended family, all kinds of family. They always depend on them and they were just burned out. But yet they kept going and kept going. And I feel like it's so unfair that we do that.
Yeah, you got to take time for yourself. And I'm going to do it because I don't want to have no regrets.
That's right. I think that has taught me when mom passed away. I actually I was pastoring for a little bit after she passed away because it was September that same year that I started doing that. I'm not a pastor now, not in ministry now, but it was like one of those things where I realized that I need to seize the moment. I need to go out there and do what I need to do. My slogan is growth takes courage. Me being on this video, being on this show right now is me. You uncover courage. This is growth for me.
Me too.
To speak and to help others because people like it. They're like, oh, you need to do this more. And so now I'm pushing myself to do it. But it's stuff like that when mama passing, stepdaddy, the divorce that I dealt with you were there for me. You've seen it. You know what I went through. And it was hard. And it was good to know that I had somebody in my corner, some people in my corner. Because a lot of people were against me, but with all that said, all that's taught me what you're doing, self-care, That's what it is. And I get my money together. I'm gonna go some more trips. I'll be like you. I want to be Gucci with you.
And I'm only doing a little bit.
But you're doing a lot. You're doing a little bit, but it means a lot. That little bit is more valuable than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because your son will love. He's going to remember that when he gets older.
I'm sure I get on his nerves, but he like we do stuff.
You get on mine, so I know.
Whatever.
All right. So one thing I also noticed about you. See, this is the thing. I'm letting you know some things. Is that you do love deeply and you do fight for your family. And there have been moments where I've been on my last. And I remember, I want to say this too. I remember a time when I was married, we didn't have any food. And you helped us get some food. You know that? Several times.
Of course. Like what?
But I want people to see who this person is, the character of my sister, why I love this person so much. I want people to see why you are part of my journey.
Yes, there's no doubt about it, no question.
So you don't know, like those things have been a blessing to me and it helped me to get to where I'm at right now because I remember what you've done for me. And so I'll always be there for you. But you don't find people like that sometimes. Sometimes family.
Hey, you was there for me too when I ain't had nowhere to live.
Yeah, but we ain't got
I was couch hopping.
Well,
you was there for me too.
Well, you can hop on. It ain't about me, it's about you. The point is that I just appreciate. And so for people on this journey, appreciate the ones that's in your corner. All your family may not love on you. We all have family members that you be like, oh my God, they my family. You may have some people that get on your nerves, but the ones that really embrace you, you better embrace that family.
Loyalty is everything too. Loyalty. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the spill of it. This is who she at. Now, I always ask this question. I meant to ask this in the beginning. I said I'm going to ask all my friends this, and I see your friend. This is James and Friends, but you of course going to have family up here as well. So my question is, what is 3 things that describe me? What? Oh my God.
Everything I say, she'll go, oh my God.
Worrisome. Talkative. Do you have good humor? You have a nice personality. You carry.
Ooh. I'm so glad this has been recorded because I know I ain't gonna hear this anymore. So last week, my friend Jay had actually told me 3 things. He said funny, caring, and I would get a shirt off my back. And I was gonna take my shirt off. I said, he was like, no, maybe that's for something else. Journey with James After Dark. And I was like, well, maybe I should be on OnlyFans. He's just crazy as I am. I was like, well, maybe I should do on OnlyFans. I mean, I got a belly, but people like bellies too. I'm just trying to make some money. Talking about trips. I'll be able to take a lot of trips with that. Show my belly, jump, jiggling, and drink a lot of money. Hey, that's good for me. But no, I'm not doing OnlyFans, people. Let's get that out there right now. Okay, so you gave me 3 things. I'm gonna give you 3 things to think about you. I think you are very, very loyal. I think you are you're kind. Your heart shows. One thing about you is you're not all talk. You show with your actions. So you mean to me. We go. How you.
You started. I just finished.
But I know that you show your love through your actions, and I love that about you. You're very. I told you. I said you're very caring. You remind me of Mama, and it's not even funny. And it's true. You started crying in a heartbeat. But you care deeply.
Me? I ain't the only one that cry.
It's about you.
What?
And thirdly, you work hard for what you want, and I see the fruits of your labor. You have an incredibly wonderful son. You have a great mate. You have a great life. I feel like you do. So yeah, that's it. You can get them more. All right, I think we can end the interview from now, but my sister's going to stay around. She's going to stick around. First of all, I'm asking, do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
I know you don't. But look, coming up, we're going to have a little game. Would you rather? My sister's going to ask me some questions. We'll have a little fun. So stay with us. You are watching the Journey with James show. Stay with us. Turning into all God has for me. In the process, confronting fears. Letting go of worry. Investing in others. Embracing God's peace. Being completely me. It's my journey. The Journey with James. Be encouraged. Be motivated. Be inspired. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Journey with James show. We're having a pretty good show. We just talked to my sister a little bit about our mother and our father, stepfather, and just life after that. And life, like, what are we doing now? You know, now that they're gone. And so now we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have a little game that I love to do in the James and Friends segment. It's Would You Rather. My sister's going to join me again. Welcome back. Hello.
Hello.
There you go. All right.
I was looking at the
All right, so shoot away.
Would you rather someone read your diary or someone read your text messages?
Well, first of all, I don't have a diary, but I do have a journal. Someone gave me a journal that I wrote maybe 3 to 6 passages or whatever, 3 to 6 passages. And I will be honest, I would rather them not read either one. Can I say that? I would say go ahead and read my journal. I think the text messages, some people have confided in me about some things that are personal for them, and they confided in me, and I don't think it's appropriate for them to read that.
Oh, you gonna say it that way? Okay.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what would you do?
We ain't talking about me.
Yeah, we are. We can. You have to participate in it too. I hope you know that. So what would you do?
I don't have a diary, so you can read my text, I guess.
You don't have no journal?
I do, but it's not like, it's more of a notes type of thing.
Oh.
So it's not like a journal.
Which one is juicier, the journal or your text messages? Because I want the one that's juicy.
Next question. Would you rather have unlimited battery life on all of your devices or have free Wi-Fi wherever you go?
Battery power on my devices. I think that's important because, I don't need Wi-Fi to text.
Right.
I don't need Wi-Fi
I don't care about that. I just want to be able to communicate with somebody. I watch too much to be somewhere and not be able to communicate with somebody.
So wait a minute, you watch too much what? That's something that's a nugget that I need to tell you guys. What do you watch too much of?
True crime.
I tell you, every time you come to the house, that's all you see is ID channel.
ID. That's what it is.
Come on now. So
hey,
now she's a crime.
Keep you on your toes, because these folks is crazy out here.
That's true. Absolutely. So yeah, I see what you're saying there. For me, I would have the devices because communication is key for me. I like to talk. I like to communicate. We know that. So
I have a fear of being somewhere, my phone died, or somebody not being able to get in contact with me or whatever.
That's a horrible feeling. Yeah, that's crazy.
Would you rather have super sensitive taste buds or super sensitive hearing?
I think you know the answer to this one. Let me see if you can answer this one. For me, you got that right. I love to eat now. I'm a foodie.
Yeah, I don't think I want to hear everything.
No, I don't want to hear anything because some things that will hurt my feelings.
Yeah, not here.
Trauma. I could read your mind, all that kind of stuff, and hear your mind, all that.
Yeah.
Because I know what you really feel about me. I can hear it now, sis. What?
Would you rather always be 1 hour late or 1 hour early?
I would like to be 1 hour early.
You would
Why
like?
are you looking like that? What you saying?
I didn't pick it.
Huh?
I didn't pick it.
I'm just asking you, what would you pick? What did you feel? You feel I would want early or late?
Late.
Why? What is this thing that I'm always late? I'm not always late. Wasn't I on time today? I had to come pick up something from you. Wasn't I on time?
Yeah, but you asking me where I'm at, and I told you what time I was gonna be there. So
Well, you were kind of, if I'm not mistaken, you might have been a minute late.
I wasn't late. I was 5 minutes early.
Now I didn't know that because okay. So was you parked before I knew?
I turned in and I was coming towards you, and you claimed you didn't see me.
Oh, I was on the phone. I was on a FaceTime call. So anyway, I was preoccupied, I guess.
So yeah, I'd rather be late because being early and on time don't work.
Really? Why you said it though? That's interesting.
You know how we are.
I know, but you would want to be late though?
Why not? It ain't gonna be started anyway.
Oh, you're trying to say black folks.
I said you know how we are.
Well, I'm just gonna keep it real. We keep it real here. So you're saying black folks, we don't, as black folks, we ain't on time for stuff. So if the cookout is they said the cookout is at 2:00, we know that means 5.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay.
So if I'm late, I'm on time.
Not all black folks, so we can do that. Okay. All right. Move along. You got another question for me?
No.
There's another question up there.
Is there? That is it.
Is that 4? It should be 4 questions.
That was it. Read your diary, unlimited Wi-Fi, sensitive taste buds, hour late.
Well, you know, I don't even know what
Can you count?
I tell you one thing, my sister got a smart.
I'm just saying, like,
I love her so much.
I mean,
and I meant to say we're 5 years apart. I'm the oldest, of course. She needs to respect her elders. Let's just remember that. But she is very mature for her age, and she's got an old woman's spirit. So
that's all right. My friends say I'm an old lady. That's okay.
Yes, Lord.
I'll be that.
Yes, Lord. They say I got an old man one, but I don't, you know.
Watch my ID and my court shows. That's
and okay. I get my newspapers on Wednesday and Sunday. Still do.
I don't get no newspapers now. I'm not there yet.
I like the feel of it. And I like the smell of the paper. Hey, that's just what it is. This is my journey. You ain't gonna come for me. Okay? Let me have my newspapers and leave me to be. Like what's his name? Eric Mays, the councilman that we hear about. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. That's what he said. Leave me alone. You know what I'm talking about, right? Councilman Eric Mays. Who doesn't know Councilman Eric Mays? I want you to Google him or FaceTime him, and you will be.
Who again?
Huh?
Who again?
Eric Mays. Councilman Eric Mays.
Yeah.
Look him up. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I know it was hard. I appreciate it so much. I love you so much. I can't deny that. And I'm going to tell you this too, guys. Remember she said this. Now she said I talk a lot, which is true. I embrace my journey. I embrace who I am. Okay, I love myself more and more. Therapy has been working a miracle.
I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, do tell. What makes you proud of me? Your
growth. You've grown a lot. I'm proud of you. With personal situations, I'm just proud of you.
What you're not gonna do is cause me to tear up because you know I'm sensitive. Okay, I'm sentimentalist, whatever. You know, I make my own words up too, Jamesisms. But I appreciate you saying that. You know, because it hasn't been easy. But
because you're stronger than me, honey.
We're gonna move right along. But it has made me stronger. I will tell you that. It made me stronger. And I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to where I'm going. Even with this show, I'm just looking forward to what's next, you know? But let me just say this here before we get off here, because she ain't gonna get away from this one. So I like to talk a lot. So I like to talk on the phone to my sister because she's like my best friend. I got to tell her some things that's going on, everything.
Look.
And she said to me, can you say this in a text or whatever? So I get 1 call a month. What is it? And I remember texting her last week and I asked her, do I have my quota? Is it my quota up? And she said, it's been up or something. It's been up.
Yeah, you got a phone call and a visit.
Visits doesn't matter. They don't count.
It does count.
Either way, I only get a limited time to talk on the phone because she don't like talking on the phone a lot, and it's sad. I be like, dying. I be wanting to call, be like, Dad, I want to tell her this, but I gotta wait till next month.
Look, it'd be too much for me to be sitting talking on the phone. Like,
but I appreciate you doing it. You make a sacrifice. I appreciate it. Oh,
certain
one more thing
people
before we
I will talk
leave.
on the phone with.
Huh?
I will talk on the phone with certain people.
Yes, you will. And me is one of them. And you're gonna give me 2 days in the month now, okay? Starting in September. Thank you.
This counts.
What? You're gonna be on the show again? You know it's gonna be.
Oh no, I'm not.
All right, let me let you go, but let me just say one more thing to my son, James, your nephew, James Jr. He told me to ask you, do you still eat ketchup sandwiches?
Oh, not often.
Okay, because he said he asked me when's your birthday. I said, Jay, and Jay said her birthday already passed. See, Jay didn't remember your birthday, but we said it's already passed. He wanted to gift you with some ketchup sandwiches, is what he said. I was disgusted. We were all disgusted. We don't like that.
Oh, he's so sweet.
He actually said it tonight. I made them tacos at a table, and I told him I may be interviewing you. He said, "You doing tonight?" I said, "I don't know," because I didn't want him to be noisy, making noise. But he said, asked her, "Did she still eat ketchup sandwiches?" Because I'd be telling the stories about you and your ketchup sandwiches.
Mama used to be hot, wasting my bread on ketchup sandwiches.
It's disgusting.
Wasting my bread. Hey, it's getting 8. Like, stop.
Just talking about it making me sick to my stomach. Well, you enjoy your ketchup sandwiches. I'm sure it's name brand. She don't get no cheap bread. I'm telling you that now. She get Nature's Own, I'm sure. And I'm sure
I get Nature's Own honey wheat bread.
I do now too. I actually get more name brand stuff now. Matter of fact, I had some Oreos a day, and they taste so much better than the store brand. I was like, wait a minute now. I actually bought Oreos. I paid 70 cents more. You have changed me, sis. I'm a changed man.
And we're doing fake news.
Let's get out of here. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. We'll talk again. God bless you. Love you and all that good old stuff.
I love you too.
Forward to nephew coming up here next week.
Yeah, definitely opposite personality.
He's a loyal supporter.
He wants to be on camera, not me.
Yeah, he made for the camera. He like his.
I didn't get that from you.
Yeah, sure do. And I look forward to our conversation. I think we're gonna have a good conversation.
I'm sure.
I got some questions for him as a child. Some questions for him about the world. I think it'll be real good to hear a children's perspective on his journey as a young man. So anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
Coming up next, my cousin Austin joins me to talk about his professional basketball career and how we found out that we're related. You're watching The Journey with James show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Journey with James show. We have having a good time on this edition. It's a family affair edition of the Journey with James show. I just had my sister on acting foolish, you know how she is, but I really enjoyed her. You got to learn a lot about her journey and how she lives her life. And you know, the things I pointed out is that she does take care of herself, and I think that's so important. Self-care is important. So she's kind of taught me that. So she got some things revealed to her. She was surprised that I, looked up to her in that way. But with all that said, today I am really just focusing on people who have been an integral part of my journey in life. And I've mentioned this a couple of times. I'm sure I've said it in a lot of my vlogs or even on the Young and the Fearless podcast that a couple of years ago I did a DNA test. 23andMe is what it's called. And I did it because my ex-wife, she got it for me for my Father's Day gift years ago. Actually, it was like a year before I even took the test. And I end up finding some people, but I end up connecting with a good brother here who's also my cousin who has become a very close friend. And I'm talking about the international basketball player I always talk about. I look up to this guy, Austin Calhoun. He is joining me on today to have a little discussion here on the journey. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How about you? I appreciate that introduction, man. I need you to do all of my introductions, man.
Well, that's the thing, man. I really had a lot more to say, but I had to learn to shut my mouth because the other day I was producing the entertainment show, and the anchor was reading the prompt the stuff that I wrote. He kept reading, and he said in the middle, and told everybody this. He said, "James, too long." So I'm trying to learn to keep it concise and stop.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot to say because this mouth run.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Especially when you're pouring into people the way that we all know that you do.
Well, we pour into each other, bro. We have long conversations, do we not?
For sure, 100%.
I would tell you. So you said we have connected and known each other for about what, 5 years?
5-6 years, yeah.
Yeah. So how is it that you found? Why did you even take the 23andMe test?
So kind of a similar situation to you. China had gotten that for me. I can't even remember the occasion. Maybe it was my birthday or something like that. I believe it was around the summertime or something of that nature. But at first I wasn't going to end up, doing it and sending the things back in. But something just told me, just go ahead, see what you find out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did, and I created the account online and put everything on there so that I could see and connect with DNA relatives. But I'm a super, I'm an introvert, you know what I mean? I'm really to myself. So I didn't try to reach out and connect with anyone.
Yeah.
And then something told me to start checking it and see. And I started to get messages and see individuals that were DNA relatives, what side of the family they were on and things like that. And I thought it was pretty interesting because I'm only close to one side of my family, which is my mother's side. And my father's side, I don't know too much about. After his mother, my grandmother, passed away. That was the only person that I had a real actual relationship with. But she passed maybe my freshman year of high school. So that kind of severed my ties with the family on that side. So I started to be a little bit more interested in things with everyone else. So that's how we ended up being connected. And I can't remember which one of us reached out to the other. But we were both kind of in the same boat trying to figure out, hey, like, I'm trying to see, I think that, you might be on this side of my family and this and that. And it was just interesting to see, someone in a similar situation, obviously with your parents and mine as well, and being more familiar with one side and things like that. So that's how it all started, how I remember.
Yep. We connected pretty quick, man. And it was me that actually connected with you. And I'm going to tell you the story. I don't know if I ever told you this. But it was crazy how it even came about because we were looking over the DNA, and it's almost like Facebook. They connect you with people, and some people put their pictures up there and everything. Your picture was up there. And I remember I was over a friend's house with my ex-wife, and they saw your picture, and they say, "Oh, that's your cousin. That's what your cousin." I looked at it, I was like, "Yeah, he favors me some. That is definitely my cousin." And that's how we even connected. Because I said, "Well, I'm at least send him a message." And I think it took a little while for you to respond. And there was a reason for that, right? You were what?
I was playing basketball.
Yeah, I want to introduce my boys playing international basketball. How was that? How did that all come about?
So in high school, man, I started off, playing basketball, but I was playing basketball before, but I was always basketball, piano, and soccer. But they became really demanding of my time.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having to choose which route I wanted to go. Obviously, I chose the basketball route. And once I got into high school, things started to pick up for me pretty quickly. I ended up getting some scholarships, and I decided to stay a little bit closer to home. And once I graduated, or right before I graduated, because I graduated in December of my last year, I started getting connected with agents. They started reaching out to me through social media, reaching out to me through people, reaching out to me through coaches. And then that's when, it started to click like, hey, I'm probably going to be playing basketball after college, regardless of whether it was, the NBA or going abroad. But at the time, I wasn't too familiar with the landscape over there in Europe and Asia and things of that nature. But, money is money, right? And I wanted to keep doing what I was doing, and someone's going to pay you for what you love to do. Why not? It's worth looking into. So I ended up meeting with a few agents. Some of them came to my school, actually. We sat down. They took myself and my mother out to eat, and we would have these discussions. And They started to try to work on my behalf prior to me signing the contract because technically I was still a student. But they were bringing me contracts and allowing me to get familiarized with the process and how it goes. And then once I graduated, I had some workouts with some NBA teams. And then I want to say in September, right after my senior year, I ended up receiving a concrete offer after I signed with an agency to take me to Europe. And it was a guaranteed contract for a year.
Yeah.
And I jumped on it. Took it, and that was the start of it.
So with all that said, man, getting a little bit more into the personal side, what was your journey like once you accepted that basketball, the contract? How did your journey change? What things happened to you?
I was a bit anxious. I didn't know what to expect. When you think of Europe, you think of, at least in my mind, I think of the countries that I went to later. Switzerland, France, Germany, Italy, things like that. I didn't start off there, right? I started off, my first year was in Bulgaria. At that time, I had never heard of Bulgaria. I wasn't familiar with the culture. I wasn't familiar with the people. I wasn't familiar with the language. I wasn't familiar with the cuisine, the foods. I wasn't even familiar with their style of life or basketball. So I was a bit anxious. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I didn't know, again, I'm an introvert, so I didn't know how well I would assimilate to that culture and being around new individuals that I didn't think that I would have much in common with. But regardless, I felt like what I would have in common with people was my love for the game.
Yeah.
And I was going to really lean on that hard in order to help make my transition a bit smoother than what it could have possibly been. But I was pretty anxious, man. I kind of wanted to push back me going a little bit longer to really wrap my head around it and be away from everybody for almost a year. But I dove into it head first, and that first year was a roller coaster. Yeah.
You say roller coaster, so you had your ebbs and flows, your ups and downs.
Man, I did, man. It started on a high note, and then it had some lows, and then it went back up, and then it kind of went back down again. And by the end of the season, by the time I went back to the States, I was considering not pushing forward with it. I was thinking about being done after that first year.
Wow. What changed your mind?
What changed my mind was my agent understood my experience at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I went from being in Eastern Europe to going to Western Europe. And he started to find and secure contracts in Western Europe. And he let me know that would be a different experience. Mm-hmm. And basically also the financial aspect of it. If I did certain things as far as athletically and my stats and things of that nature, then certain things would manifest or would be attached to that. So I just, decided to roll the dice on myself, and I felt like I could make some things happen within a year if I really locked in and just focused on what I wanted and didn't allow what I didn't want to distract me. So I gave it another shot. And that second year I went to Switzerland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How many countries have you been? How many places have you been in your career?
Visited or played in?
Played in, I would say.
Okay, played in. When I was in Bulgaria, we were in, at the time, it was outside of our national league. We were in the first division. We were also in the Euro Challenge at that time, but now it's called the Champions League. So we played teams in Turkey. We played teams in Hungary. We played teams in Belarus. So some of our games we would have to travel there. But as far as where I signed my contracts and lived in, I started in Bulgaria. I went to Switzerland. I went to France. I went to Bosnia, Japan. I was in Tokyo. And I want to say those are the countries that I actually lived in and played in. Others were visits and, road games and things of that nature. Right.
Yeah. Well, I know for sure Tokyo was kind of the part when I came into your life, because we talked a lot while you were in Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because always a big time difference, but we talked a lot, man. And I'm gonna tell you, and I want to share this. One reason that you are a pivotal part of my journey is because I didn't expect it. It was natural the way that we connected. I didn't expect to know I had a cousin that played international basketball. That's the first. But secondly, I had someone that really believed in being a better version of themselves, always striving to do the best they can with their life, despite anything. And you have that. And you have helped me. Like the conversations, man, has really uplifted me in my journey and growth. And the things I've been through. I've talked to you about stuff real deep, and you have been right there for me. So that Tokyo time was good for me because we connected a lot, man, and it brought us to this point here. So that's the whole reason that you're a part of my journey in a big way, is that you're not only family, you're my friend.
Man, definitely, I agree 100%, man. I remember that time. You're right about that time difference. I want to say we were maybe 12 hours. I was 12 hours.
It was 12 hours difference.
12-hour difference, but my workload there was so low. It was such a peaceful time and a relaxing time. It wasn't super demanding of my time to where I could stay up all day, all night, and be all right. We practiced maybe twice a week, you know what I mean, and we travel for our games and things of that nature. But they really, to play out there, you really have to be a professional, right? They're not gonna make you, all right, you got to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. So I was able to really manage my time. And then, like you said, man, we were having those conversations. So when I had free time and downtime and was just relaxing, man, I was able to, talk.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing to say in our journey in life, that it's good to have people in our lives that we can talk and uplift each other. Because so many times when people are so negative and they always got craziness going on, but it's good to call a friend or a family member and be able to speak light to each other, because life is hard, man. And I think that's a good thing for people out there listening or watching. Please, if you don't have anybody like that, pray, connect with people, talk to people, that you may be interested in. You never know how you can forge a good friendship, a good bond that will help you in your life, propel you in your life. It's so important. And it's interesting you say that you're an introvert. It was crazy. My sister, she's an introvert. She gave me a hard time. She didn't want to do it, but she did it because she loved us. I appreciate you doing it, because I always said that I'm an introvert. And my friends were like, yeah, right. You ain't no daggone introvert. You an extra all the way. And I said, well, I'm an intra extrovert. I'm in the middle, and they don't want to hear it. But I know for me, in my journey in life, in the younger years, I always felt that I was an introvert. But I learned through therapy that it was only because I isolated myself and made myself a loner, because I was socially awkward and I didn't know how to connect, and people tease. So, I realized that I am an extrovert, but I know something with introverts. They can take a lot, they can, have conversation, but they need that time. Give me my time, give me my space. So I understand. So, it's interesting because we talk.
Yeah, for sure.
I was going to say, so people think introverts don't want to talk, they don't want to communicate, but it's not like that. It's just, they need that space of time. Give me some breathing room. I'll come back.
It's balance. It's a balance. It's really a balance.
Yeah.
A lot of times, man, we get overstimulated by all of the monotony and things with our days, being at work, being around people, working with people, doing things for people, especially when we give, you know what I mean, helping people. We have children, helping our children out and things of that nature. So it's always good to have that balance where we can just sit down, be centered, and then get rejuvenated so we can go back out there and do everything again.
Well, speaking of center, man, what centers you?
Man, what centers me the most is seeing the impact the positive impact that I can have on people, and just realizing that every decision that I make matters. I'm starting to get open to the perspective that it doesn't just affect me. Yeah. But man, prayer helps centers me, as well as meditation, and I'll say reading. Those are things that really keep me centered, because sometimes we either get too low on ourselves or we get too high on ourselves. You know what I mean? And it really allows me to take a realistic look at myself and where I'm at. And I can give myself a pat on the back for my growth. But at the same time, I'm able to put into perspective that there's always work that needs to be done, and there's things that I can always do better, and to not necessarily get too comfortable. But I would say prayer and meditation are two of the biggest things, man. I'll randomly, man, just get on my knees and pray, and I'll randomly take time to meditate, whether I'm sitting in the car and just sitting in the driveway, whether if I'm able to go outside or sit down if I'm at the gym, man, and just stretch for about 20 minutes and just lock in and zone out somewhere, man. But that really helps keep me centered and keeps me grounded and keeps me rejuvenated, you know?
You know, I follow that because we talked about that. Even for me, I've tried what you said, and it is actually, it is true. It is. It does it does give you a sense of calm, and it kind of takes the monotony out of the day away, and just being able to just be free from everything that's around you for even a few moments. You know, it's a really good thing, man. I think that's so important. And that was a great interview for my brother, Austin Calhoun. Oh, man, what a blessed interview. The interview was so good, it's actually longer. So I decided to split it into 2 episodes. So you're going to get more from my brother Austin in next week's episode, including his whole spiel on the word gratefulness and having gratefulness and being gracious for what you have. I think it's so good. It changed my life. And I know it will bless you as well. So make sure you tune in next week for part 2 of my interview with my cousin, international basketball, I call him a star, Austin Calhoun. Still ahead, it's the That's What's Up segment. This week, I'm talking about recording artist KB. Stay tuned. You're watching The Journey with James Show. Step into a new day, understanding that everything's going to be all right. Understand that you have grace, mercy, joy, love, peace, and happiness. Understand that whatever you may be going through, that God's got you in every step of the way. You can dance and know that everything's going to be all right. So be encouraged, be inspired, and be motivated. You got this. Welcome back to the Journey with James Show. It's my favorite segment, That's What's Up, where I highlight someone or something that's significant in our community, in our world, that's going to uplift us, that's going to encourage and motivate and inspire our lives. And today I want to highlight somebody that I met the second time. I met him the first time at a personal concert some years ago. And then I just met him again on assignment as I'm producer of an entertainment show. And we were... had the honor of interviewing him again. So I didn't interview him, but I was there to produce that segment, and I got to meet him. And I'm gonna tell you something, the interview was very, very good. I can't show you the interview because I don't have copyright privileges to that, but I will tell you it was a very, 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 very good interview, and it left me a little teary-eyed, just a little bit, but KB actually cried a little bit too. But it's because he talks about his new album, which is the 5th album, His Glory Alone 2. And in his particular album, in this particular album, he is actually very, very, very vulnerable. He says he's very vulnerable. He's very transparent in it. So he doesn't shy away from the issues he had with his father, and just daddy issues, period, with even other people, and just how he was able to get through therapy and all this kind of stuff, and things that he had to do, and things that he's doing to be a good father to his children, to be a good husband. It was just so impactful. It was the interview was chock full of nuggets, chock full of inspiration. It left me feeling so refreshed and knowing that he can be transparent and vulnerable and still be someone of significance. You know, people try to put on this face mask and try to be something they're not. But when you're authentically yourself and you're true to who you are and you're just transparent in what you do and what you go through, I think that resonates with people, and that's what I'm all about as well. So I salute KB, Christian artist KB. I salute you, because the way that you orchestrate your life, the way that you get the therapy you need, the way that you work on yourself and admit things that you have to work on, I say that's what's up. You're doing your thing, man. You're doing your thing. And with that said, that's today's That's What's Up segment. I got my younger son here, JAYDEN Christopher, who celebrated a birthday on August the 8th. How old are you now?
9.
He's playing the Switch. Lift it up so you can see. Yeah, they play these devices all the time, but I'm glad he joined me here. This is the last segment of the show. I want to say completely, I just want to say thank you for watching. Got a little tongue-tied, just so happy to have my son right here. I hope you guys join me again on the next edition of The Journey with James. Remember, we're gonna have part 2 of Austin Calhoun's interview, and then we're gonna have something else special. So stay tuned, keep watching, we keep growing, we keep on this journey, and we're gonna keep on motivating, inspiring, and encouraging you. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again later on The Journey with James show. Peace. Say bye.